Atheism and Pantheism as world life views compared from the panentheistic perspective. Introduction. How big is God? Does size really matter when it comes to conceptualizing God's involvement with humanity? Proponents of panentheism would say yes, simply by saying that classical traditional theism, pantheism, and atheism are comparably depicting a God that is substantially smaller. I am not an atheist, however, from the panentheist perspective, each part or ism has emerged and played significant roles in the history of our species. So that being said, it's imperative to put the spotlight upon not only the holism and metaphysical theology and universal philosophy of symbiotic panentheism, but to also see the separate parts or aspects which make up the whole, observing that there are indeed both atheists and classical traditional theists in our world who debate and fervently believe that the size of the causative force is proportionately related to their particular world life view. That being expressed in the particularisms of classical theism or in the atheist belief that there is no value to God or a causative force, which size may or may not be involved relationally with mankind, I'd propose that agnosticism, the belief that God may exist, or being unsure, is a better wager than being convinced that God could not possibly be real. Being unsure is probably a better place to be. That is, until perhaps in life one will be swayed to make a decision for or against God and the existence of a causative force. Atheism. What new concept has atheism, that is, the first size of the causative force, that no God or causative force could possibly be real or exist, firmly established within society? The causative force is so small, it does not exist. She does not exist. He does not exist in the mind of the atheist. No presence of God in the world or otherwise whatsoever. What do the conceptual frameworks of atheism and pantheism have to offer us? Atheism: 1. The doctrine of disbelief in a supreme being. 2. Frequently applied to those who disbelieve in the popular gods. 3. Believed that religion rests on superstition or fairy tales. 4. The philosophy of materialism does not require a God or an insertion of a God or a creator. 5. Sidney Hook maintained that an open-minded atheism provides for a guaranteed freedom of religious belief. From the Dictionary of Philosophy and Religion, William L. Rees, page 48. Pantheism, from the Greek pan, and theos meaning everything is God. The term is to be distinguished from Panentheism, where the world is regarded as a constituent or aspect of God, but not identical with him, her, it. It is not the disbelief in a supreme being that is of interest here, but rather what this implies about the size of God, or the causative force. If there is no causative force, then the causative force is so small it has actually been defined out of existence. This implies that our universe has no beginning and will have no end. Pantheism, on the other hand, would increase the size of the causative force to that of the universe. This presents the same problem as does atheism, for it also implies that there is no beginning or end to the universe, which to current science is an impossibility, seeing that we are in a beginning-end format, hence the Big Bang Theory. Both atheism and pantheism limit the size of a causative force to the size of the universe and to time. For this reason, both are considered to be non-religions, but most religious faiths that exist today, that is, the theistic ones. I would add that Buddhism, or some schools of Buddhism, are indeed not atheistic, but pantheistic in nature. Science is beginning to seriously believe there are boundaries to our universe. Time may be a boundary, for science now thinks the universe had a beginning and will end, apparently in a heat death. Atheism cannot explain such an idea. Science now thinks our universe may actually have a physical boundary. Our universe may actually have some form or shape. Atheism cannot account for what would lie outside such a shape. Atheism is limited and is limiting. Comparatively, you could say that atheism is, as having its own set of beliefs, is in itself a form of negative theology, or that which negates God or any notion of a God in existence, or having the purpose thereof that God or the belief in God would initiate. So in a sense, atheism is its own religion, because religion is defined as a belief system, and atheism being a negative theology, I would say, because it negates the existence of what classical theism purports. Atheists say that they're not a religion, but the evidence shows that they have the telltale signs of being a religious belief, or it's the religion of, you could say, non-belief, or negation, or nihilism even. To that end, both atheism, pantheism, and classical theism have their paradoxes and problems when comparing world-life views, or the options that are available to humanity at this point in time. And it is my opinion that Panentheism perhaps solves many of the existing paradoxes that exist between the dualisms of atheism versus classical theism, as well as that which exists within theology and science as a whole.